Mike Tyson, I think he said, everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the face.
Right. Welcome to the CMO Spotlight, Mark Roberts.
I actually started out in tech in Intel, then got into the networking industry. So with a company that's no longer around, 3Com, I felt that I wanted to go and try a couple of startup roles, something that was a little faster moving and dynamic. And did an IPO of a company called Core Networks that was then purchased by Polycom, the video conferencing, and now you can see the connection into conferencing. So you fast forward Short L and then PGI. Creativity, I think, that is the hardest part. You know, when you kind of said, okay, now the teams can't actually meet together, that exchange of ideas that happens, just people sparking off each other, it's very, very difficult over these kind of solutions, computer mediated, you know, this sort of thing. It just doesn't have the same connective tissue that it does when you're in the office and when you're kicking an idea around. I think the biggest challenge, to answer your question bluntly, is to get back to focusing on the customer rather than that narcissistic internal view that a company tends to have as, oh my God, how do we communicate? How do we do things? What keeps these kind of roles fresh for me is how fast, just how much the ideas and concepts of the supporting technology to allow us to engage in new, innovative, and meaningful ways. I find that fascinating, but more so from the human aspect of, we all know we're being stalked. We all know that we're talking to bots these days. We know these things intuitively, and yet our acceptance and our willingness to do that, it continually amazes and surprises me. We used to have sessions where we kind of kick it around and it would just be, okay, what did you see this week that would be interesting? And we purposely take the time out of the day to sit around and have those discussions. And obviously it's difficult to do now. We use Slack internally. And so we actually just adopted a channel, which was Marketing Inspiration. And it's amazing how faster some of those topics come up, because it's not in a meeting, a back and forth kind of thing. It can happen at any time, in real time, throughout the entire day. Integrity and a willingness to explore and be curious. To promote those kind of things, I always make sure that there's a certain percentage of the budget that's just put away to one side for experimentation. Now, get your KPIs nailed down first, what you think you're measuring and what you think is actually going to contribute in a meaningful fashion. But once you've got that done, back to my previous comment, you've got to operate in a way where people are okay exploring when there's a problem. If you're going to step into one of these roles, the first thing you need to understand is that you don't understand everything. Being able to see the entire picture of that buyer's journey, the prospect all the way through, being a customer, the customer experience, how that rolls through and impacts with brand, and being able to map that out for a marketing organization. That's really the point. It's as marketing has got more and more technical, and you have to have a deeper and deeper understanding of specific disciplines, trying to actually pull the team together and around a common idea, a concept, ideally a brand or a user experience, a customer experience, however you want to describe that, how an outside individual perceives the company. Being able to pull all of that together so you're all headed in roughly the same direction, I believe is where I excel. I wish somebody had been blunter with me earlier in my career and just shut up and listen. Early on in your career, you're so keen to make an impression and want to engage and be heard, and I don't think it's really the right way to approach it. Looking back on it, I would have been much better served actually just listening, thinking through the responses and trying to figure out who I am versus who I wanted everybody to see me as. Take a look at yourself, take a look at the surroundings, what actually makes you tick. Are you getting that from your surroundings? And if you're not, what can you do to actually make that right? Because quite often it's not speaking, it's listening. Early on, I took a stint in sales, and I would encourage anyone that wants to be in marketing for any length of time to go do that. To just take might be a year, might be 2 years, but go see how that downstream, what it's like to be doing that role, because it's the easiest job in the world when it's going well. It's not, it's horrific. And as a marketeer, you can massively impact that. And I think having just a clear understanding of that is critical.